The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with nervous energy as Ambassador Zeph-7 of the Crystalline Hegemony reviewed the translated human documents for the 100th time. The species classification was simple enough: bipedal carbon-based life forms, average height 1.7 meters, limited technological advancement, recently achieved faster-than-light travel. What puzzled the galaxy's leading xenobiologist wasn't their physiology, it was their stories. They claim their ancestors fought creatures with serpentine bodies spanning continents, chittered Vex Prime, the insectoid representative from the Hive Collective. Beings that could breathe fire hot enough to melt stone. Preposterous. The holographic display showed excerpts from human mythology: gods who hurled lightning bolts, mortals who slew creatures the size of starships with primitive weapons, warriors who could level mountains with their bare hands. The assembled aliens found it all rather charming. Primitive species often created elaborate fantasies to explain natural phenomena they couldn't understand. Their psychological profiles suggest a species prone to embellishment, noted Dr. Keth 8, adjusting his spectral analyzers. They appear to use these myths as entertainment and moral instruction. Quite primitive but harmless. That assessment would prove catastrophically wrong. The first human diplomatic vessel, the Odyssey, docked at Station Nexus 7 3 standard cycles later. The aliens expected to meet a delegation of nervous primitives, eager to learn from their galactic superiors. Instead, they encountered Captain Achilles Petrov. The human stood 2 meters tall, his frame corded with muscle that seemed to flow like liquid steel beneath his skin. Scars crisscrossed his arms. Not the clean lines of medical procedures, but the chaotic patterns of someone who had faced death and emerged victorious. His eyes held the cold calculation of a predator, and when he spoke, his voice carried the weight of authority earned through blood and fire. "I am Captain Achilles Petrov of the Terran Defense Corps," he announced to the assembled dignitaries. "I'm here to discuss humanity's integration into your Galactic Council." Zeph-7's crystalline form flickered with amusement. "Achilles? How quaint. Named after one of your mythical warriors, I presume." The human's expression didn't change. "Mythical? The stories your species tells of impossible heroes and fantastic beasts," Vex Prime explained, mandibles clicking in what passed for laughter among his kind. "You're Achilles, who single-handedly turned the tide of wars, who could defeat armies. Charming fiction." Something dangerous flickered behind the human's eyes. "Fiction?" Dr. Keth 8 stepped forward, eager to display his knowledge of human culture. "We've studied your mythologies extensively. The exaggerations are quite understandable for a primitive species. No single being could possess such combat capabilities. The physics alone..." He never finished the sentence. The attack came from the shadows between stars, a Void Reaper, one of the galaxy's most feared predators. The creature materialized on the station's outer hull, its phase-shifted form allowing it to pass through the reinforced barriers like they were made of mist. 3 meters of writhing darkness with claws that could tear through battlecruiser armor. The Reaper had been drawn by the unusual concentration of different species. Panic erupted in the chamber as the creature burst through the observation deck's transparent aluminum wall. Station security, the best the galaxy had to offer, opened fire with plasma rifles that could atomize a small building. The energy beams passed harmlessly through the Reaper's form. "Phase shifted," screamed the security chief. "We need quantum disruptors." The Reaper's attention fixed on the fleeing aliens, its predatory instincts aroused by their terror. It moved with impossible speed, reality bending around its form as it prepared to feed. That's when Captain Achilles Petrov stepped into its path. The human had no weapons. Station protocols had required all visitors to surrender their arms. He had no armor, just the simple dress uniform of his service. What he did have was something the galaxy had forgotten could exist: the distilled essence of humanity's warrior spirit, passed down through generations of stories that weren't stories at all. The Reaper's claws swept toward him, each one capable of bisecting a crystalline hegemony war drone. Achilles moved like liquid lightning, his body flowing around the attack with impossible grace. His hand shot out and somehow impossibly caught the creature's phase-shifted appendage. "You want to know about Earth's myths?" Achilles asked, his voice carrying across the now silent chamber. The Void Reaper struggled against his grip, its form flickering as it tried to phase away. The human held firm. "The thing about myths," he continued, his free hand drawing back, "is that someone had to live them first." his fist connected with the Reaper's center mass. The impact sent shockwaves through the station's superstructure. The creature, a being that had terrorized the galaxy for millennia, exploded into constituent atoms. The silence that followed was profound. Achilles straightened his uniform and turned back to the staring aliens. Now about humanity's integration into your council. Later, in the privacy of his quarters, Ambassador ZEF-7 frantically accessed the human databases again. This time he read with different eyes. The stories of impossible warriors, of heroes who stood against armies, of mortals who challenged gods and won. What if they weren't exaggerations at all? What if they were understatements? A new file appeared in his communication array. A personnel record for Captain Achilles Petrov, Terran Defense Corps. The document was sparse, but one line stood out among his commendations. Recommended for promotion following single-handed defense of Colony 7 against Hive Fleet Medusa. Casualty report. Enemy losses. 47,000 combat drones. 12 capital ships, 1 Hive Queen. Friendly casualties, 0. Below that, a note in what appeared to be the captain's own handwriting. The stories our children tell will seem impossible to those who never faced the darkness. But someone has to hold the line. The galaxy had spent eons assuming that myth and reality were separate things. Humanity was about to teach them otherwise.